The key to victory is ass. Liz's ass specifically. I'm John Rithlin with the retro review of WWE SummerSlam 1988, taking place in Madison Square Garden. Some of this show has aged well, some of it hasn't aged well. There's going to be some rants, so let's just get right on into it. Gorilla Monsoon and the religious Reuter superstar Billy Graham were on commentary. I used to have sympathy for Billy Graham. Looking back on it, maybe he could have been champion a lot longer than he was. But given how in recent years, and even going back like 15, 20 years, he got a life-saving liver transplant and still chooses to be a goddamn hateful monster and a piece of shit and say that everybody should inject steroids to, get bigger and stuff like that. Ruin their careers like he did because that's all he was. All he was a body. He was a good promo, but all he was the look because he was never any good in the goddamn ring. Now, at that time, he didn't need to be. But he was a man that bought into his own hype. And yes, Jesse Ventura, Hulk Hogan, and so many others stole from him. But you know what? They did it better. Ventura also went the crackpot route, but I digress. Also, the fact that, Graham decides to be one of those hateful religious people, that really fucking bothers me. Religion, if it fixes you and sets you straight and you use it to, for good and to heal people and to show that, you've changed, and to show the good faith that you have in people and that there are good people out there, that's great. You use those teachings, that's fantastic. That's not what Billy Graham does. Superstar Billy Graham, that is. Or the other Billy Graham. Boy, there's a lot of nutty people named Graham that use religion to justify their bigotry, like Superstar Billy Graham. Also, he said brother a whole lot. Like, he was fused with Hogan, Jimmy Snuka, and it was just a human centipeded clusterfuck of roids and insanity and hopefully not murdering, like Jimmy Snuka, and fuck Jimmy Snuka. I'm glad he's dead. He deserves to burn in hell for what the fuck he did to Nancy Argentino. And so, enough of that. Provided anybody else is still watching. The British Bulldogs versus the fabulous Rougeau brothers. You have Raymond and Jacques. Jacques would later become the Mountie. And the Bulldogs would get a lot better when it was just Davey Boy Smith. Because you have Dynamite Kid, noted bully, and an abuser of women, and abuser of roids. And somebody that I did not shed a tear for when he passed away, because as good as he was, as influential as he was in the ring, he's a piece of shit. He deserved every bad bit of karma that he fucking got. Every goddamn bad bit of karma. Fucking Dynamite Kid's a goddamn idiot. So anyway, it was funny hearing the crowds chant USA, USA, USA. One team's from Britain and the other team's from Quebec. Oh, God. Well, wait, what was it? Were the Rougeaus from Quebec? Were they? I know they were from Canada. If they weren't, I apologize for getting the province wrong. So there were some rest holds and there were some, submissions. And the tag work was really good. The problem is it went to a time limit draw. The crowd booed. There were like 5 more minutes. So maybe Dynamite Kid could get his teeth punched out. That was a real hilarious story and fucking more karma that he deserved. Piece of shit that he is and was. So we then get footage of Ron Bass taking Beefcake out, choking him with the rope because he's a cowboy, and then using a spur they just happen to have with him because he's a cowboy. And they put an X there because Beefcake had bladed and they didn't want to show the blood. Except it was obvious that he was bleeding because you could see in the sections where they had X'd it and put censor that he was bleeding. And it was fucking hilarious. So, Bad News Brown versus Ken Patera. Ken Permtera, more like it, because boy, that hair was bouncing and behaving. And a lot better than anything else in this match. Now, Ken Patera was a hell of a talent. Or is a hell of a talent. I mean, I don't think he's wrestling anymore. Bad News Brown did have bad knees, but still was pretty damn good in the ring and a pretty good promo. Even though he just tended to shout a whole lot. And he was kind of washed by this point. But, yeah, this wasn't very good. This was kind of just their match and a Ghetto Blaster 1, 2, 3. That's pretty much it right there. I don't really have anything bad to say. I really don't. It was just there. The Mega Powers have an interview. Liz is a secret weapon. Again, Liz's ass. Which is a good secret weapon to have. So, Rick Rude with Bobby Heenan versus JYD. Boy, JYD was washed by this point. It's really sad to see. Also really sad that neither of these guys would make it to the year 2000. Rude would die in April of 99. JYD would die in 98, I believe. It was just really, really sad. Match wasn't that good. It just wasn't. Speaking of hair bouncing and behaving, good lord, Rick Rude. And then Jake the Snake ran in when Rick Rude did his gyration thing because they were still doing their feud at this point. And that caused a DQ. And then you had a snake and a dog right there. Jake the Snake Roberts and the Junkyard Dog. Thank God there were no dog versus snake match. Vince would have booked that, by the way. So, Powers of Pain with the Baron. That's the Barbarian and the Warlord with the Baron von Raschke, in a very limited time role that he had in WWE, because I think he was gone soon after this and back in the AWA, versus the Bolsheviks. Boris Zukov and Nikolai Volkov with Slick. I do not know why this match needed to happen on pay-per-view in '88. My God. It was not good. It was not good at all. Power slam from the Warlord, diving headbutt, pin Boris. That's really all I gotta say right there. And then you get a brother love segment. I'm going to say this right now, that Bruce Pritchard's mother should have swallowed him. Because then we wouldn't have ever had this character or any of the bullshit he's ever come up with on wrestling television. He's a fucking goddamn idiot. Paul Bosch should be turning over in his goddamn grave if he saw what this fucking worthless idiot was doing to wrestling. I'm not saying Paul Bosch ever ran the best wrestling company, but Houston Wrestling stood the test of time and was really, really great to see for a while and lived on, like, at least into the 80s. Is any of Bruce Pritchard's stuff, like, going to be remembered as good in 10 years? I mean, fucking hell, look at some of the stuff he did in Impact. That wasn't very good. And he also isn't very good because he's a Vince McMahon brown-noser. You can be a company suck-up all you want, but you got to have some original ideas, and Bruce Pritchard just doesn't. And this fucking I hated the Brother Love gimmick. And you were supposed to hate it, but it was to the point where even as a kid, I'm like, can we see what else is on? And they click to Crockett, and I'd click away. Hacksaw comes in and spikes it up. Dino Bravo is mentioned, and about how he's patriotic and everything, and that Hacksaw Jim Duggan's patriotic, and he basically threatened to shove the 2x4 either up his ass or down his throat. Without saying that, but that was pretty much the implication. And then here's Honky Tonk Man, who is supposed to face Bruce the Barber Beefcake, but nope, he can't. He's, because Beefcake got cut because he's still got that, animated X over him. He says, get somebody out here for me to wrestle. I don't care who it is. Here's Ultimate Warrior. I'm going to go on record as saying that, wait, let me actually finish this up right here. Ultimate Warrior beats him in like 30 seconds. I'm going to go on record as saying that Ultimate Warrior was one of the biggest pieces of shit in wrestling as well. And yeah, fuck Ultimate Warrior. I'm glad he's dead. I have no problem saying that. I hope his kids grow up to be really, really good people. His wife's a goddamn bitch as well. But Ultimate Warrior for his time was over. He was over. I will give him credit for that. Honky Tonk Man also is one of the worst Intercontinental Champions of all time. And again, I want to say, this stuff's all my opinion, because I can't speak for others. I can barely speak for myself. But he was a goddamn idiot. And never deserved to hold the championship beyond, I'd say a month. And he held it for, 15, almost 16 months? That's fucking ridiculous. Nobody broke his record, and I wish somebody has to break Honky Tonk Man's record at some point. You can do an interesting Intercontinental Championship run. Who the fuck even is the Intercontinental Champion at this point? Who the fuck? God, I was actually trying to draw a blank there, right there. I actually can't fucking remember who Oh, AJ. Yeah, have AJ do it. Why the fuck not? Even though AJ is a flat earther and kind of an idiot. Honky Tonk Man was not any good. He wasn't. He was fucking rotten. And him getting beat was great. Even if Ultimate Warrior was also a big piece of shit. And yeah, I don't feel bad for Ultimate Warrior. Not me, having to sue Vince because he was owed money. Ultimate Warrior lucked into a spot that he never fucking deserved. Never fucking deserved at all. And looking back on it, his matches were fucking rotten. He couldn't wrestle. He was carried by everybody. He was carried by Savage, Rick Rude. He couldn't be carried by Honky Tonk Man because Honky Tonk Man couldn't carry himself. But Hogan. Hogan and Warrior had one good match. And then Halloween Havoc 98. Enough about Ultimate Warrior. Let's go Don Morocco in tie-dye. He was the Rock Don Morocco versus Dino Bravo, the Canadian strongman. And this is when superstar Billy Graham was in Morocco's corner, but he wasn't there, and Bobby Heenan was yelling at Graham on commentary, which was kind of funny. Yeah, after a bit of a ref distraction, side suplex, Bravo wins. Yeah, Morocco wasn't in the company much longer after this, and Bravo, if you ever see the Dark Side of the Ring episode about Dino Bravo, whew, that's a bit sad. Also, he kind of did it to himself. He kind of shouldn't have done that shit. But anyway, Ventura talks about being the ref for the main event, and yeah, he took money, but that doesn't mean he's going to side with DiBiase, because he hates Hogan. But, Ventura has been known to hate Hogan, and maybe doesn't care for Savage and stuff like that, but he'll call it right down the middle. And then we get Demolition with Mr. Fuji and Jimmy Hart versus the Hart Foundation, former Hart Foundation manager Jimmy Hart. Got nothing bad to say about Jimmy Hart, one of the best wrestling managers of all time. Brett's shoulder got focused on. There was a good melee at the end. megaphone to the back of Bret's head, and Demolition wins. So there you go. That's your lot right there. And then Jimmy Hart, the heels, and Honky Tonk Man. Well, Honky Tonk's upset about losing the title. He'll get the title back if it's the last thing he does in the company. Well, good thing he never got it back, because he never fucking deserved to have it in the first place. Big Boss Man versus Coco Beware. Resist the obvious jokes about an evil cop keeping the black man down. Didn't resist very much. But, of course, Vince McMahon would put this on even in 1988. Yeah, it was weird to see how Big Boss Man would be a babyface like 2 years after this. And then, you know, he hits the sidewalk slam 1, 2, 3. I mean, it's like about a 5-minute match. And Coco, this is when Coco was still a little bit motivated, but it wasn't great. And then Warrior talked about spaceships and rocket fuel and stuff like that and parts unknown. And the sad thing is, this is a pretty coherent promo. We think of Jake Roberts versus Hercules. And a comment, an actual line from Gorilla Monsoon on commentary, and the snake slithers out the back door. Forgive me for not reacting to that with the good taste and maturity you come to expect from me, but how could I not laugh at that? And even though Hercules tried, he got DDT, and then Jake draped his snake over Hercules. Hercules' big chain and oily physique could not save him from being slithered around by Jake's snake. Or slithered on by Jake's snake. You know what? Let's just move on from that. This match was okay. Don't know why it was given 10 minutes, but it was okay. Also, Rick Rude didn't run in. That was a bit surprising. Mega Powers. So Hulk Hogan, the man who was never better than Randy Savage, with the WWF champion Randy Savage. Randy Savage didn't even get a title defense on pay-per-view. Now, granted, they only had 4 pay-per-views a year, so I get it. But the fact that he never defended it on pay-per-view was fucking bullshit. In fact, I would definitely, call it more than just fucking bullshit. But then again, maybe that's more of a modern, sensibility I'm trying to put back on this. But it was what it was. And Hogan had to hog the spotlight or be in, Savage's spotlight and everything. He couldn't let Savage stand on his own. Savage could have carried the company without Hogan. Just saying. I think Savage would have done just as good as Hogan did. At least in this run. Now, I'm not talking the 4-year run that Hogan had, but at this point, Savage should have had it for about 2 years. Because he was in the main event of Mania 4, main event of Mania 5, and then he was in a mid-card match and a mixed tag match at Mania 6 while Hogan was in the main event. Gee, I wonder why. So, Liz was also there. The Mega Bucks. Andre the Giant, really sad to see Andre at this point, and Ted DiBiase. With Bobby Heenan was there. Virgil was also there. Big fight feel. And basically the ending was, Liz had, skirt on, and then she suddenly had a leotard underneath and distracted everybody with her ass. Miss Elizabeth was a beautiful woman. Beautiful woman then, and in WCW. Fucking Christ, she was hot. Really sad how Lex Luger led to her death and everything. And yeah, fuck Lex Luger. I don't feel bad for any of the bad stuff that he had happen to him. But the post-match is what was really funny about this, because Hogan got so close to another man's wife, which he never did at any time in the rest of his life, except he totally did and got caught on camera, and he deserved every bad bit of karma that he got after that. Now, honestly, this show was not that bad. Good main event and everything. But look, guys, some shows have not aged all that well, and this is one of those where it's like, fucking hell, there were some things where like, why? Why in the world? So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rithlin. I'll see you soon.